Imagine there's snow on the ground. It's 1978 at the University of Minnesota, and you're a 21-year-old nursing student. You've been eyeing a cute boy from across the class, and that day he offers to walk you back to your dorm. He swiftly throws his jacket over your shoulders and grabs your books, and this kind gesture goes on for months. You find out that he's fresh out of the Navy and has big dreams. You see yourself falling for him, and one day cannot take it anymore until you blurt, "When are you going to ask me out?" Although this sounds like the start to a rom-com movie, this is a true story of how my parents met. Through the 40 years of marriage, my parents, Barb and Ned Hansen, have been through it all. Children, grandchildren, travel, love, loss, ups, downs. But one thing has remained consistent, their love. Growing up, having Barb and Ned as my parents was like living in a fairy tale. They set the perfect example of what a loving relationship should look like. My sisters and I still joke to this day that it is unfair because they gave us an unreal, hopefully not unattainable, view of partnership. All my memories of them are positive. What child can say that? I want to share with you just how incredible my parents are. They both succeeded in their fields, raised 3 amazing children. Yes, that's me. Then helped and still help with 2 grandchildren, and in later years have traveled the world. But let's go back to how my dad responded when my mom asked him out. He, of course, said yes, and they soon became inseparable. Here are some pictures of them in 1978 when they were first dating. Look at that. Everyone says I look like my mom. And a couple years down the line, my dad decided it was time for the proposal. My mom looked stunning. Ned's hands were sweating under the table, and the restaurant was perfect. Towards the end of the meal, my dad finally mustered up the courage to propose, but my mom began speaking at the same time. Of course, my dad let my mom speak first, and she went on to say how she was so glad that my dad didn't propose that night because she thought he was going to, and she just was not ready yet. My dad's heart sank. But thankfully, he did not give up and had a successful proposal a couple months later, and we can all have a laugh about it now. And here is a picture of their wedding day. They still did get married after that proposal. As you can see, things were not always easy. My mom had already finished her nursing degree before my dad started his pharmacy schooling. So she was working full-time and helping to support them while he was going to school. However, from the start, it was them against the world. Nothing could stop them. They navigated the obstacles and hardships together to overcome it all. In the end, they managed to work to both end up with professions that they were truly passionate about, and both continued to grow and progress in their fields for decades. But before I get too far ahead, there were big changes that came soon after marriage. Well, 3 to be exact. I'm one of them. I look back on my childhood as an absolute fairy tale. Although I was 5+ years younger than my sisters, we worked together as the best sidekicks, with our parents being our superheroes. We could walk to the beach, and when we were there, my dad would dig a human-sized, well, it was human-sized for us, holes, and my mom would help us make sandcastles. We would then get back home and go on family roller skating adventures while in full costumes while all singing Disney songs together. This time was priceless. Also, while growing up, my parents helped to create traditions for practically every holiday, and those will always be ingrained in my mind as happy memories. There were ski trips for Christmas, huge block parties for the 4th of July, and giant Easter egg hunts, each equipped with festive games. We also got spoiled with family vacations to Hawaii, houseboat trips, Yosemite, and Mexico. I'm so thankful for every memory I have. To know that both my parents paid their way through school and then worked hard, long hours to make their children's lives nothing short of perfect makes me feel so honored. There was truly never a dull moment in that time of my life. Those childhood memories are what shaped us into who we are today. I'm sure both my sisters can agree that there are not enough thanks in the world for both of my parents. You've been our number one fans while helping us to strive towards our careers through your constant love and support. I am forever grateful. You both have truly set an unprecedented standard. Later in life, I am proud to say that my parents opened their world to a new passion, which was travel. When I recently asked my parents their favorite travel stories, one divulged after another until we ended up talking for over an hour. My mom said she will never forget when they first arrived in Vietnam on their first big trip. She said they felt like little kids again, and they were fearless. They jumped on the back of a tuk-tuk, which is a three-wheeled motorcycle taxi that can be a little bit janky, and with wide eyes explored the city. She then started cracking up laughing when she thought about the heavy traffic in Vietnam, and there was scooters darting everywhere. They didn't know how to cross the street until a little old lady grabbed them by the hand and helped them cross. And then her tone would change to very solemn and whimsical when she would reminisce on the elephant sanctuary and how she got to be up close with her favorite animal. So here's my mom on the tuk-tuk with her driver. And then here they are with the elephants. My father then said his best memories are from the trip to the Amazon and the Galapagos. They spent days trekking through the rainforest and saw sloths and monkeys and crocodiles. Oh my! Once they arrived on the Galapagos, they went scuba diving and described mountains of fish of all different species. They had never seen anything so spectacular. Here are my parents in the Galapagos. Those are all iguanas and seals behind them. Here's my mom with a giant tortoise. And there are no two people more deserving to enjoy epic vacations like this. So I want to congratulate my parents again on 40 years of marriage. As my mother's favorite author, John Irving, said, if you care about something, you have to protect it. If you're lucky to find a way of life you love, you have to find the courage to live it. This rings true in every element to my parents' lives. They have been each other's protectors as well as ours and will continue to do so for as long as possible. Both are an inspiration in the way they knew what they wanted from a young age and had the courage to make it a reality. I am beyond grateful that my parents' paths in life led them to finding each other because they are truly meant to be. Barb and Ned's story is absolutely beautiful, and I'm overjoyed to have the honor of reminiscing their story, and yet even more honored that I'm a part of it. And here's one final picture of the whole family with the grandchildren too.